Now I'm going to look at polygons and circles. Many geometric figures made up of line segments can be described by the lengths of their segments or by the measurement of the angles formed. The simplest of these figures is the triangle. Given three non-collinear points, A, B, and C, and we know that they're non-collinear because we have AB could be a line, but if C is here, it's not part of that line. Or BC could be a line, but because A is not part of BC, in that line they become non-collinear. So this triangle that's determined by these points A, B, and C, we would call this we would write triangle A, B, C, which is formed by the sides AB is one side. We have BC, and we have CA. A triangle has three angles and three sides. So we have the angles, these are the sides, and the three angles we would have here would be angle BAC, angle ABC, and angle ACB. Notice that these three angles have different vertices. BAC denoting this angle, ABC denoting this angle, and ACB denoting this angle. We can classify triangles by both the lengths of their sides and the measure of their angles. We have defined many special types of triangles. First, we can look at the equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangles, all three sides are congruent. Remember, the word congruent means the same length, or when we have congruent angles, means the same angles. So if we denote this here with these lines across, that means that the size of this side and this side and this side are all equal. And therefore this would be considered an equilateral triangle, where all three sides are congruent. Next triangle we'll look at is an isosceles triangle. Isosceles triangle says that at least two sides are congruent. So here's one side, at least two here are the same. Next we'll look at a scalene triangle. Scalene triangles have no two sides that are congruent. An acute triangle is a triangle where all three sides are less than 90 degrees. Or all three angles. Acute triangle. All three angles less than 90 degrees. This is this sign for less than. A right triangle is a triangle with a right angle. Right triangle, one angle is a right angle. An obtuse triangle is a triangle where one angle is an obtuse angle. One angle is obtuse. And our last triangle we'll look at would be an equiangular triangle. An equiangular triangle is a triangle where all three angles are congruent. Now, if all three angles are congruent, this also suggests that all three sides are congruent. Now that we've described and listed the different types of triangles, let's go back into detail about these triangles. So looking at this isosceles triangle, the angles opposite these congruent sides here is called base angles. These are base angles, where the side between these two angles is called the base. So this would be the base, and these angles here would be called the base angles. The angle between two congruent sides is often called the vertex angle. So here is the angle between two congruent sides. This would be the vertex angle. Looking at a right triangle, the side opposite the right angle is called the hypotenuse. So here's the right angle. The side opposite is here. And this would be called hypotenuse. The two other sides, the shorter sides, are called the legs of the triangle. This is the leg, and here's a leg. In general, we use more terms to describe specific types of triangles. For example, a triangle with two congruent sides and a right angle would be called an isosceles right triangle. So if we drew that out, here's our right angle, so it's a right triangle. But if these legs are also congruent, then this would be considered an isosceles right triangle. Likewise, a triangle with one right angle but no two sides congruent would be a right scalene triangle. So these two sides are not congruent, as is the scaling definition, but it's also a right triangle. So you would say this is a right scalene triangle. I hope you enjoy learning about different types of triangles.